In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 Bootstrap features. First, Bootstrap forms and inputs, especially text inputs, the basic kind of input where you'd put in a name or a password or an email address. We're going to talk about collapse, a hidden section that appears when you press a button, disappears when you press a button, and then the display class for making headings that are even larger and look really nice, look really modern. Let's start with inputs. Like anything with Bootstrap, you just look up how to do it, how to include it, and look for an example. So the first thing with these inputs, it works with password, it works with days, emails. Inputs will not be fully styled if their type is not properly declared. For example, it has to have type text or type password. There are other types. There is an email type. There is a color type. There is a, month type. We got to make sure that we include that. Div class form group. If you're just going to have a single input, then it's not that big of a deal. If you want to include a label, then I would recommend you use a form group, but there are a couple different ways of doing it. One thing to keep in mind is that you could always just copy paste one of these examples into your code and then customize it. Let's just do that. All right, right above the button, I'm going to paste. The indentation got all messed up. I can just highlight it and use tab to move it. What do I have? I have a form group. I have label for USR and then ID USR. Well, this is actually going to be where somebody puts in their email address. So it's not about username. It's about email addy, or email input, or whatever you want to call it. It's an ID type email, or I could just leave it type text. That's fine too. And then this class is important, form control. That is a built-in Bootstrap class. Let's see what that looks like. Well, it automatically makes it take up the full width. Let's compare it to what it would look like if I didn't have those Bootstrap classes. Let me delete form group and delete form control. Here's what it would look like. There's what it would look like. It would just look square and small compared to form group and form control, the Bootstrap classes. Looks like that. It's got nice rounded edges, takes up the full width so it catches your attention. It looks great. The button is right now not inside of this form group. If I put it inside of there, how does that change things? It's probably going to have a little less space right in here. Refresh. Oh yeah, it sets it right up against it so that to me it feels more obvious that they go together. So maybe this should actually say submit, so like a submit button or sign up button, right? bob@email.com, and you press sign up. There are some other input classes. Here it is, form control sizing. In addition to form control, you would add form control large or form control small, SM. I want large. I like the look of the larger form control. Now this is in addition to just form control. Form control LG, form control large. Refresh. It just looks nice that way. That's the basics of adding inputs and forms. Next, collapse. Collapsibles are useful when you want to hide and show large amounts of content. Click me. I was going to say pops up. It doesn't really pop up. It slowly reveals some hidden information. How does this work? Well, there's data toggles and data targets. Just like everything else, you're going to just copy paste this example and then experiment with it, play around with it. Put one up here. Format it yourself just by pressing tab. And then I'm going to add a second collapsible section down here. Paste. Highlight this, tab, tab, tab. Now it's not happy about something, as you can see. We'll get to that in a second. So this is first collapsible section, and this is second collapse section. I have a button. Oh yeah, and that button looks kind of bad. I should use the Bootstrap button classes, but I press it and, oh, wait a second. Notice how when I press this button, the first collapsible section shows up and the second collapse section shows up. And when I press it again, it hides both of them. Same thing with this button. I press this button, both the first collapsible section and the second collapsible section is showing up. It's this error, okay? The ID value demo must be unique. Let's not call them demo. Let's call them first collapse. Let's do a capital C. First collapse. and second collapse. So this div, the name of this text that's being hidden and shown is first collapse. So what's the target that I want to change when I click this button, first collapse? What's the target that I want to hide and show when I click this button? Second collapse. All right, first collapse only hides and shows the first collapsible section. This collapsible button hides and shows the second collapse section. Let's just fix those buttons really quickly. Button. Oh, notice this doesn't have any classes at all right now. Class BTN. BTN what? Primary, info, warning, success. Success? And then I'm just going to copy that class. Let's not make this one success, though. Let's make this one info. And let's add a break. Refresh. Great. So far, we have talked about inputs and collapsibles. Finally, display. Hey, this H1 is nice. You know, H1, it's a heading. It's big. What if it were bigger? Wouldn't that be nice? W3 schools put this in typography, what different text looks like. Display headings. Display headings stand out more than normal headings. It's a larger font size and a lighter, like skinnier font weight. And there are 4 classes to choose from. Display 1, Display 2, Display 3, Display 4. Let's look at the difference. Welcome to my demo page. At the very top, it's going to be Display-1. I'm going to refresh. Big difference, right? I don't like it going on to 2. What if this said Mr. Riley's page? Cool. That looks pretty nice. There are a couple different sizes available. What if it were Display 3? It would look like that, which is still bigger than an H1. Here's what an H1 looked like. Here's what a Display 3 looks like. And it just looks clean. It looks modern. It looks so nice. Display size 4. I think that was the last one. Yes, display size 4 was the last one. Still larger than what the H1 was. Okay. All right. That wraps it up for this tutorial video.